It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso. Now, I love this part where we get to sit down and have a genuine conversation because we all have different definitions of beauty and what beauty means. For some of us, it might be the way we look. For others, the way we feel. But for most of us, it's a combination of two. As they say, true beauty shines from within. And in recent years, we've seen more individuals rising above the beauty standards by embracing their imperfections and owning their own kind of beautiful. And we are here for that softer approach. Now, we've brought a panel together. We have beauty writer and stylist Megan Pedro, our beauty editor Knox Mafu, and registered counsellor Kelly Jacobs with us in studio. Ladies, I love how we all have our own way of defining beauty. So let's start there. Knox, how do you define beauty?
I think it speaks to your essence, right? So beauty really is something that can change across times, across generations. Obviously, people think of things that are quite like physical and quite like on the nose, but I really think beauty in itself speaks to who you are as a person, how you make people feel. So it really becomes an essence and an aura of who you are. And I think that, for me, has become quite important to me as I kind of understand my own beauty or other people's beauty in life.
And it's all about understanding your own, I think, recognizing that first.
Yes.
Kelly, for you, how would you define beauty?
Exactly as Knox just said now, it's that essence and that characteristics and traits that make you actually somebody that can be approachable, for example. Somebody that can also just put all of those positive qualities out there into the world and how you interact and treat people, and also importantly, how you see yourself that makes us beautiful.
Yeah.
It's those qualities that's quite captivating.
Definitely, definitely. And for you, Megan?
Honestly, it's such a loaded concept, beauty, right? Because there's so many different facets to it, right? I think that as we talk about the physical, there's a popular TV show that, you know, Love is Blind, where it's not about your physical, it's about the inside. And so often we have to take a bit of time to get to know someone on the inside and how beautiful they really are. Because we are naturally captivated at first glance by someone, naturally, everyone is. How we present food, all of that, beauty in everything. So kind of beauty goes so deep within, and I love the word essence. Like, essence is just such a great,
It really encapsulates it beautifully.
But it's so interesting to your point about, like, how, when people see someone and if you get to know them, it's crazy how they can look different to you. You know what I mean? If someone is like, typically beautiful, isn't it? 10 out of 10, symmetry and everything. But the person inside is really not great. For some reason, like, their essence and all of that starts to change how you experience them.
You don't find them attractive.
Exactly. So I feel like those things are so important. But, like, I think, like, shows like that always kind of challenge your kind of, your internal dialogue of how you engage with something. So it's so important to start from the bottom, actually, up.
Definitely, definitely. Kelly, do you think us as society need to be more gentle towards ourselves when it comes to, and in my opinion, unrealistic beauty expectations that we're now seeing on Instagram? We're seeing, back in the day it was in the magazines, now it's on Instagram.
For sure, we definitely have room to be more gentle because a lot of our mold and perceptions of what we think beauty actually is comes from all of those external images that's put out there. And I love the shift and change that's happening where representation is important and it matters because we see more definitions of beauty by the authenticity. Instagram initially was the platform where we prioritized all of those staged sort of imagery of how our life should be the highlight reel, but it's changing. Also, with the rise of TikTok, there is more of a drive towards authenticity. So I definitely think that there's room for us to be more gentle about what we actually define beauty as being, and our own natural beauty needs to also be the thing that shines through.
How do you incorporate that into your own timeline, Megan, if we are now talking about the things we see online? Have you started changing the type of accounts you follow, or do you have a way of just protecting yourself whenever you do share something of your own life?
This is quite an interesting topic because Clem and I are both, in that public sense at the same time. But in terms of beauty, my work life, I work at a women's beauty magazine. So for me, it's very important on our team. We talk about it so often because all of us look completely different. As South Africans, we look completely different. And that's the thing that really sets us apart, is that we get a lot of the feel and inspiration from Western beauty, but we are sitting on a gold mine here of different shapes, different colors, different everything. It is so beautiful. So coming in from that and representing all different faces is very important in our magazine. But then in my personal life, I really find it that vulnerability is so beautiful too. And that is what I'm finding on social media, is that we don't have to edit our photos in every single app. We don't have to only show the highlights of our lives. It really is beautiful to be authentically you.
Yeah, it really is. And with that vulnerability, I think you also want to, at the same time, protect younger girls or younger individuals that's now using social media platforms to express themselves. Knox, perhaps you can answer this for me first. What advice would you give young ladies in particular when it comes to the perception of beauty?
Yeah, I think, I went to a girls' school, and I think for a very long time, I had very warped perceptions of what beauty was, from body image to even my skin tone. It came very late in my life where I really embraced my skin tone. But I think it's important to understand that beauty can also be expression. So I don't want to limit people's ideas of, if you want to play with makeup, if you want to dress up and do all of that stuff, you really can, and define beauty for yourself in that way. But to also understand that beauty is growth. It's essentially who you are. If you move further and further away from who you are, you're going to lose that very thing that's yourself. So if anything, and I had an opportunity to even talk to myself when I was younger, is to just lean into the things that make yourself, and actually just draw more of it, build that confidence in the stuff that makes you different, because I'm telling you, it's the thing that'll set you apart.
Definitely. Well, listen, I said you're going to enjoy this conversation. Our incredible panel, we have Knox, Kelly and Megan. They are not going anywhere, because we're going to continue to choose soft when it comes to how we define beauty. And I want to know, how important is self-care to you? Let us know on our social media, and otherwise, you don't have to go anywhere, because like I said, they are not going anywhere. This conversation will continue shortly.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back. You are just in time, as we've got our panel to continue our discussion around the power of self-care. Now, our panel today, we have beauty writer and stylist Megan Pedro, our beauty editor Knox Mafu, and registered counsellor Kelly Jacobs. Ladies, it's so great to have you here, and I've loved our first conversation, and I'm happy we get to continue this. Kelly, as a registered counsellor, I think you probably see this more firsthand when people come to you with their insecurities. What is the best advice you can give someone in how to handle or approach their own insecurities?
I definitely see it in the day-to-day practice. Every single one of us sitting here, we all have our own insecurities that we also hold. But I think the best advice I can give is also to get to know yourself. There's so many messages we're constantly receiving from the external world. And when you actually have that sense of self-awareness, you can recognize when those insecurities get triggered. And how you deal with it best is definitely in counseling. But a simple act of journaling can help you become so aware of what those insecurities are, where it probably formed, and how you can also deal with it best. But the first step is the awareness and getting to know yourself.
And that's always the hardest. It's the admitting, oh my gosh, this is my own insecurity. And once you do that, you actually realize what ripple effect it can have. Knox, do you perhaps find, is there this is a safe space, an insecurity you would love to share with us, and how you're dealing with it?
I mean, I think, our life changes, and like you're saying, our influences in terms of what we consume, so maybe closer to summer, I'll worry about my body, right? I'll worry, am I bikini ready? But then I have to realize that bikini ready is the body that I give my bikini, right? So it's things like that you have to go through. Earlier, I mentioned that my skin tone used to be a thing, at a time where lighter skin was a more preferred kind of beauty idea. And so it's really kind of getting to terms with, what is it that I don't like about myself? Is it because I genuinely don't, or I've been told that something is wrong with the way that I look? And so obviously, if you've got access maybe to therapy, or even journaling, and sometimes journaling can be hard, because to face that kind of truth about yourself can be really hard. But I think once you get over that, and journaling can be a voice note to yourself, it could be, doing different ways of writing is something that's a bit too hard. And I realize sometimes that dialogue with yourself can really show you the things that you're seeing about yourself. And then you can get to the point of okay, so is that a me thing, or something that I've been told to worry about, even if I didn't necessarily worry about it before?
And that reflecting is so important. Megan, when it comes to self-care, I feel like you're the queen of self-care.
Yes.
I know that your bathtub has one of those big whisks so you can have extra bubbles.
Does the full whisk, yes, 100%.
And I know even recently now for your anniversary, you guys had a spa day.
I love any chance to do an indulgent self-care, let me tell you, I'm there.
It hits the spot. So why is self-care and just having that routine so important for you? What difference does it make to your outlook on the day you had or perhaps the week you've had?
So coming down to essentially what is beauty again, beauty is really the essence of how you feel. I believe that. Because how you feel and how you internalize things and how you take on things that, you know, you go through in your life, that is the light that you're shining. And your light is essentially what beauty is. So if you are taking care of yourself, if you're taking a few minutes in the morning to journal, to get to know yourself, you can present a better person to society, right? So you step out with a better foot already. But I mean, I'm not partial to a bit of a face mask and making yourself really feel great, you know? I mean, again, working at a beauty magazine, it's so great that in the magazine, it's split already into kind of the half of, you know, the side that's put forward to us as what kind of makeup we need and all of that. But then the other part is so about self-care and about that journaling side and about that, you know, journey of how to make yourself feel better, whether that is a 40-minute night routine that Clem has to stay far out of, okay? Lavender essence and a salt lamp and a whole thing, but it gears me up for the next day, and that's just, you know, essentially.
And that's what you need to top up your own essence, and it's so important that you know that. Now, we want to obviously inspire young ladies to take care of themselves, but it's always such a catch-22 because you want kids to stay kids for as long as possible, but we all grow up. So from what age would you recommend, Kelly, you know, that young individuals start practicing their own self-care routines?
You are never too young to start. I've got a niece that is 4 years old, and her mom routinely every morning speaks affirmations with her so that she can have that self-image that's developed from young already, because like we had mentioned and said earlier, your definition of beauty comes from all of that external and internal messaging. So I think for young kids, you're never too young to start. I mean, something as simple as affirmations in the morning can help develop their sense of self and identity, that they are important, they are worthy of taking care of themselves, because when you actually take care of yourselves, just like Megan mentioned, you put out good energy into the world too.
You do.
Yeah, you stay with that feeling. I think that that's also important, is that you keep that messaging going. My niece is 2.5, and she does not need any help with feeling confident, let me tell you. But we you know, as the family, want to harness that as she grows older, because it's so important. Because I mean, the way we looked at ourselves at 5 years old, to 10 years old, to 14, to now, completely different. The imaging that we kind of seen, the friends that we're around, the light that we have within us has changed so drastically.
Yeah, and you don't want to dim that light. No, you do not. Ladies, this is a conversation I can continue with, but we have run out of time. Thank you for joining, Megan, Kelly, Knox. It was wonderful to unpack this, to see your thoughts on beauty and self-care. And I want you to join our conversation, choose soft, and, you know, join our conversation around soft online, and you can also let us know how important self-care is to you. That hashtag Choose Soft is the one to use with our BIC Soleil Click 3 or the Click 3 Sensitive, which is enriched with aloe vera for the silkiest results on your skin.